Hello, dear friends. When tolerance for dissenting opinions diminishes, it is a step backwards in humankind's evolution. But never confuse freedom of speech with personal insult. Opinion piece. Pursuit of happiness. Inalienable rights. Freedom of speech. Gentle and gradual ascent. Avoidance of drama is the key. Reflection of the higher worlds. Let's start. We, human beings, differ in opinion on many matters, but we'll agree on one thing, for we all seek happiness and try to avoid suffering, even if there are some masochists who seek it and some sadists who cause it. All beings seek happiness and try to avoid suffering, but true happiness is found in liberation from suffering through spiritual awakening and the cultivation of positive qualities. Happiness and suffering are temporary states subject to change. Therefore, it is advisable to cultivate an attitude of detachment and not to cling to the pleasant or reject the unpleasant. Suffering is inherent in conditioned existence and manifests itself in different forms, such as physical pain, aging, illness, and dissatisfaction. The ultimate goal is to attain the state of enlightenment, which implies liberation from suffering and the attainment of lasting, transcendental happiness. This is achieved through the development of wisdom, compassion, meditation practice, and the cultivation of virtues. Political philosophy. The phrase pursuit of happiness is a very important concept within the U.S. Declaration of Independence, which was adopted in 1776 and is considered a precursor document to the Constitution. It states that all human beings have certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This phrase was drafted by Thomas Jefferson and reflects the philosophical ideas of the time, influenced by Enlightenment, Enlightenment thought, and it is to say the Illustration, and the ideals of the American Revolution. Inalienable rights are also known as natural rights or fundamental human rights, as those rights that are considered to be inherent to all people simply because they are human beings, regardless of race, gender, nationality, religion, or other status. These rights are universally recognized and are considered essential to the dignity and well-being of every individual. These inalienable rights cannot be taken away or eliminated, as they are inherent to the human condition, such as the right to life, which implies that all individuals have the basic right to be alive and to not have their lives arbitrarily threatened or taken. The right to personal liberty protects the autonomy and physical integrity of individuals and implies that no one may be arrested, detained, or imprisoned without a valid and justified legal basis. Detention must be supported by legal grounds and comply with the standards established by law. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or a community to articulate their opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, censorship, or legal sanction. The right to freedom of speech is a fundamental principle that guarantees individuals the right to freely express their thoughts, opinions, and ideas without interference or censorship by government or other entities. It is an internationally recognized human right and is enshrined in a number of legal instruments, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the international human rights treaties. Freedom of speech encompasses a wide range of forms of expression, including the freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of any kind, regardless of frontiers and through any media. This includes the freedom to express oneself orally, in writing, through print media, in the form of art, online, or in other way a person chooses. No one should be harassed because of their ideas or opinions. But freedom of speech doesn't include insult, libel, or slander, because the reputation of innocent people must be protected, nor may it incite violence. Freedom of speech also implies the protection of unpopular or controversial speech. The fact that speech is offensive or disturbing to some does not justify its suppression. Freedom of speech is fundamental to democracy, the exchange of ideas, citizen participation, and social progress, and its protection is essential to promote an open and pluralistic society. Happiness. The phrase "pursuit of happiness" implies that each individual has the right to seek his or her own happiness and pursue his or her own interests and goals, so long as they do not interfere with the rights of others. In the context of the Declaration of Independence, it is understood as an enduring autonomy of individual liberty. Although the Constitution does not clearly mention the pursuit of happiness, it establishes a number of rights and freedoms that protect the well-being and self-determination of citizens. And these rights include freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to a fair trial, among others, which may be fundamental to the pursuit of happiness in the broadest sense. Happiness refers to a state of emotional and mental well-being, satisfaction with life, and general joy, including aspects such as work, personal relationships, and health. It is a state desired by most people and can be experienced in a variety of ways and at different times in life. It includes feelings of joy, gratitude, love, serenity, enthusiasm, and contentment. Opinion. According to Steve Biko, happiness is by definition a state in which everything is great and we are happy as a result. And the pursuit of that, a world that pursued any of the divine states, would be a reflection of the higher realms. New sky maps detail life on the astral planes, where it would be unthinkable to do anything but pursue that which brings happiness. What is the difference between here and there? For one thing, we are wandering in these dense, non-conducting physical bodies that make it difficult to experience any divine state, and even many feelings. So we don't experience as much happiness as they do. On the other hand, these dense bodies are subject to diseases, hunger, thirst, cold, etc. We are so busy taking care of their needs by working for money, taking care of families, etc., that we remain distracted by the greatness of their needs, that we remain largely distracted. Thirdly, the love you experience on the astral planes eclipses any experience we have here. It is this love that makes the greatest difference, and yet it is taken for granted, like the air we breathe. But soon we will have universal basic incomes and replicators that will free us from shopping, cooking and stirring. During the time what remains in 40, our life will be as happy as it can be while we are still in an untransformed physical body. And again, we will find ourselves ascended to a higher dimension where none of our worries exist. We are bringing heaven to earth by allowing people the freedom to seek happiness and the other divine states instead of waiting for ascension. And heaven is slowly descending in response. Ascension. Ascension can be a gradual and gentle awakening according to Steve Biko. It doesn't have to be a dramatic event. It can be as gentle as a spring shower. You don't need a violent snap. So, this is gentle. That is why we talk about it as an awakening. You are beginning to understand your multidimensional self. You are anchored in the One. You are anchored in Gaia. You are anchored and balanced in your heart. You have made peace with the third, and therefore you can simply drift and ascend to the fifth. There are often many questions about catastrophic events within the humankind collective, about Gaia herself, or about what we have planned. But the key is to avoid so much drama, because that is of old. Reset News. Storm Rider claims CNN is going to reveal hidden ET technology. He also foresees passing of a law that will allow the declassification of hidden technology. The Storm Riders claims also that the attempted coup in Russia has been directed by Putin to save Belarus. Some Fed members wanted to raise rates in June, but agreed to pause. Stocks could fall 25% with Fed rate hikes that would trigger a recession before the end of 2023, says one strategist. Europe. The cost of the protests in France amounts to more than €1 billion. The digital euro aims to reduce the use of cash in Europe. European stocks fall on weak Chinese data. Night trains make a comeback in Europe. Spain. Spain will generate half of its energy from renewables by 2023, and Portugal will reach 100%. Masks are no longer compulsory in Spain in the health sector. The European Justice withdraws the immunity of Puigdemont and the ex-councillors. Americas. The Mexican peso breaks a new record against the dollar and records its best level since 2015. The first convoy of Mexico's Tren Maya is ready to start testing in the south of the country. Mexico City and telecoms companies to remove disused cables. Mexican science joins the fight to reduce GM maize imports. Argentina's entry into BRICS would strengthen its bargaining power. Uruguay is debating the creation of an emergency fund to deal with the serious water crisis. Uruguay's parliament approves a bill to provide reparations to guerrilla victims. The Chilean president's human rights advisor resigns for his comments on the 1973 coup. Peru declares a state of emergency in the south due to the eruption of the Ubinas volcano. Bolivia and China are studying the manufacture of electric vehicles. Venezuela appeals a international decision to investigate crimes against it. Brazil's Petrobras move towards trading in national currencies. Brazil commits to conclude an agreement between Mercosur and the European Union this year. And that solved, another new. It was hidden. Brazil and Russia consider providing humanitarian aid to Syria. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.